Today we're doing a PSA. We're reading a children's story. It's one of my favorites because I got glasses in 1968. It's called Katie's Magic Glasses. This was my book. It was inscribed to Damian Davis for Christmas 1968 with love from Mom and Dad. Your very own Katie Blair, so Katie won't have to go back to the library. Again, I think it's a great book for kids that have glasses are going to need glasses, but it's pretty good. So it takes about 20 minutes total. Katie's Magic Glasses. Katie's Magic Glasses by Jane Goodsell, illustrated by Barbara Cooney. Houghton Mifflin out of Boston is a publisher. And it's for Anne, Katie, and Molly. And this was the second printing, copyright 1965. I'd like to say that Katie Blair had snowy skin and golden hair, a rosebud mouth and eyes of blue, as girls in fairy stories do. I'd tell you, if I only could, that she was always very good, demure, obedient, and sweet, never messy, always neat. But Katie wasn't like that a bit. In fact, she was just the opposite. And that's not strange, because she wasn't a princess in a fairy tale. She was a real, honest-to-goodness 5-year-old girl. Look, she's got freckles, and she's got a snake, and she's got crazy hair and a busted knee. What was she like? Well, truthfully, she's almost always had one skin knee. Her nose was freckled, her light brown hair was straight and straggly, but she didn't care. She had a funny pixie grin because her 2 front teeth were halfway in. There she is. That's Katie Blair. For a 5-year-old, she was pretty smart. She knew the flag salute by heart. She could empty her bank and count her money. She could wiggle her nose just like a bunny. She knew the alphabet perfectly, all the way from A to Z. There she is with the flag salute. And there she is emptying her piggy bank on the ground. She can count all her money. But she certainly wasn't as good as gold. She acted like a 5-year-old, sometimes good and sometimes bad, sometimes happy, sometimes mad, sometimes quiet, thoughtful, dreamy, sometimes very loud and screamy, full of giggles, full of squeals, and always hungry except at meals. Sometimes shy and sometimes bold, like most any 5-year-old. There was just one very unusual thing about her, and that's why she's in this book. Her eyes were big and brown and bright, but Katie's eyes didn't see things right. When she looked at something far away, like a kite in the sky on a sunny day, she saw it like this, all blurred and queer, not like this, straight and clear. I think it said sharp and clear, but look how sharp and clear that is, and look how blurry and messy that one is. That's what Katie saw. That's what everyone else saw. When she looked at the face on the kitchen clock or the faces of children down the block, this is how they looked to her, just a fuzzy sort of blur. Sometimes Katie wouldn't greet friends who were walking down the street. She couldn't see their faces, so she wouldn't wave or call hello. And that explains the reason why people sometimes thought her shy. There's Katie and they're her friends, and she's not even saying hello. They're like, "What's up, Katie?" Katie's just walking by. She don't recognize any of them. She couldn't see the robin's nest in the apple tree either, the day her brother called her down to come look. "There it is," directed Tim, pointing to the topmost limb. Katie looked and supposed that she saw something up in the apple tree, and though she couldn't be sure, she guessed that what she saw was the robin's nest. "Sure, I see it," she said to Tim, for certainly wouldn't admit to him that there was anything that she couldn't do as well as he. But Katie'd have a big surprise. If she'd seen the nest through her brother's eyes, see how clear it looked to Tim? See it there on the topmost limb? And Tim would have been surprised to see through Katie's eyes all blurrily. Here's how the nest looked to her. See? Just a smudgy blur. There's Tim right down there with Katie. One day, Katie and Tim and their mother and father went to a circus. It was a great big 3-ring circus. Here's a picture of it. Look at all the dazzling things going on in the 3 big rings. Watch the girl hang by her knees, up in the air on the high trapeze. And see the juggler juggling balls, and the red-nosed clown in overalls. Watch the acrobats do their flips, and the lion tamer crack his whips. Watch lions jump through hoops of fire, and look at the man on the high tight wire. See the monkeys, spangled pants, and the little hats on the elephants. That's how the circus looked to most of the people who were there. Katie's mother and father saw everything very clearly, just the way it looks in the picture. Tim did too, but not Katie. That's how they saw it, clear. See the clown and the lion, the trapeze, the high wire, the acrobats. Through her eyes, the circus looked very different. Blurry, isn't it? There it is, just a big old blurry mess. Nobody, not even Katie's mother, knew how smudgy and fuzzy everything looked to Katie. And Katie didn't know how sharp and clear things looked to other people. Katie didn't find out that there was anything wrong with her eyes until she was almost 6 years old and ready to start first grade. Then one day, one bright and sunny summer day, when she came in for lunch from play, her mother said, "Katie, you're a mess. Take a bath and change your dress. We're going to see Dr. Smith today." "What for?" asked Katie. "I'm okay." "Of course," said her mother, "but darling, you'll soon be starting off to school, and it's a good idea for you to have a checkup before you do." Katie didn't want to get a checkup. She wanted to stay home and play hopscotch. But once she got to the doctor's office, she didn't really mind. She liked Dr. Smith. He knew a lot of jokes, and he had a pocket full of balloons. He blew up a red one and gave it to her. And then he told her to climb up on the table. There he is, blowing up that balloon. That Dr. Smith. He's full of laughs. He thumped on her back and her chest. He pricked her arm for blood for a test. He felt her pulse and tapped her knees and asked her to stick her tongue out, please. He poked down her throat with a little stick. He listened to her heart go tick. He weighed and measured her on the scales. He even looked at her fingernails. Then he whistled admiringly. "You're healthy," he said, "as a girl can be. And now let's test your brick brown eyes to see if you can recognize the letters of the alphabet. Do you know the names of the letters yet?" "Sure," said Katie. "Of course I do. I know the alphabet clear through. Except," she admitted truthfully, "I sometimes mix up R and P." She followed the doctor to the hall, and he rolled down a chart on the farthest wall. "Okay, Katie, go ahead." "Start at the top of the chart," he said. Katie was ready and set to start, but when she looked at the doctor's chart, the only letter she could see was the very top one, a great big E. There she is with Dr. Smith on the table. And here is the chart. She could only see the top letter. All the rest were blurry spots and little teeny tiny dots that looked so far away and small she couldn't read them, not at all. She couldn't, no matter how hard she tried. She felt so awful she nearly cried. But she wanted so much to do her best that what do you think she did? She guessed. Of course she guessed all wrong. She said L, S, B, T, Z, and N, and that wasn't right at all. Katie herself knew all along that she was guessing the letters wrong. She felt just awful. She knew she'd failed. "I can't see the letters at all," she wailed. "Oh," said the doctor cheerfully, "is the chart too far away to see? Why don't you move up closer then? Get close as you like, then try again." When Katie took 3 steps forward, she could see the top 2 lines, but she had to take 6 more steps before she could see the whole chart. Then all of a sudden, the letters looked sharp, clear and black. See how clear they are there? She was standing close. She read the letters perfectly, even the hard ones, R and P. The doctor chuckled. "I declare, you're bright as a button, Katie Blair. But someone extra bright like you needs eyes as bright as buttons, too. How," he asked, "would you like a pair of glasses of your own to wear, to give you extra perfect sight? To see things just exactly right." "Glasses," thought Katie. "Glasses. There's some mistake. She didn't want glasses. For heaven's sake," she stared at the doctor in dismay. She couldn't think of a thing to say. "Hey," said the doctor, "why so tragic?" "Listen, Katie, you'll see magic. Though through these glasses, and I think that what you will see will strike you pink." "Magic," guessed Katie. "Honestly?" The doctor smiled. "Just wait and see." But Katie didn't anticipate having to wait and wait. The next day she had to go to another doctor, a special eye doctor. She had to read more alphabet charts, looking through a big machine. It didn't hurt, not a bit, but it took a long time. Anyway, it seemed like a long time, and Katie got pretty wiggly. She couldn't help it. There she is with the eye chart in the machine. Then she had to go to another place where she tried on frames for her glasses. Her mother helped her choose bright red ones like this. Look at her cool glasses. She got red ones. See them? And there's her mom. Yep, those are the cool ones. There's the guy helping. He had glasses too. Her mother said they were very cute and becoming, and Katie giggled when she looked at herself in the mirror. But when Katie found out that it would be 5 days to make her glasses, she was puzzled. Who ever heard of magic taking such a long time? "You'll see magic," the doctor had said, but in all fairy tales she'd read, magic happened instantly, faster than you could count to 3. Magic glasses couldn't take practically a week to make. She'd have them and nothing flat. Hocus pocus, just like that. "Pooh," she thought disgustedly, "plain old glasses. That's what they'll be." She said pooh. Then one night, Katie wandered into the den and saw her father's glasses. That gave her an idea. There were glasses on a shelf. Why not try them on herself? She thought that maybe perhaps they might give her the extra perfect sight the doctor had promised. Glasses would. Of course she didn't believe they could, but maybe, just maybe, it might be true. So Katie tried them on and whoo. Her father's glasses were much too strong, but Katie didn't know what was wrong. Certainly something was the matter. Everything seemed to be coming at her, all jumbled like a crazy quilt. The floor seemed to slant with a funny tilt. She felt kind of dizzy, almost sick. Whoa. Now she hoped that she would never get her glasses. But 2 days later she did. She found them lying on her bed in a bright blue case when she went upstairs to look for her roller skate key. She sighed when she saw them. She didn't want to try them, not a bit. She'd hate them. She was sure of it. Sure of it. She wrinkled her nose and made a face. She took the glasses from their case, and very, very reluctantly, she put them on and gasped, "Oh, gee." Katie could hardly believe her eyes. She stared and stared in stunned surprise. She could see magic. She really could, just as the doctor said she would. What was the magic Katie saw that made her eyes grow round with awe? Did she see a prince in a magic cloak? A bright green dragon breathing smoke? A golden coach, an elf, a fairy? No, nothing that extraordinary. There she is with her red glasses. Look, she's got a bear on a bed. What Katy saw were familiar things. Kids out the window on playground swings. A ladybug crawling on the floor. A doorknob on her bedroom door. A bright new penny. The kitchen clock. The paper boy coming down the block. She'd seen all this before, it's true, but none of it looked bright and new. Remember the way she used to see how dim and blurred things used to be? The minute she put her glasses on, hocus pocus. The blur was gone. All of a sudden she could see absolutely perfectly. She could tell who the kids were down the block. She could see the numbers on the clock. And though she was half a block away, she saw the paper boy plain as day. She could see the bandage on his thumb. She could tell he was chewing bubble gum. Look at his big old bandaged thumb and big old bubble. A paper boy. How cute. The glasses worked so perfectly, there wasn't anything she couldn't see. She saw a kite up in the sky, flying way, way, way up high. She spotted a penny on the ground and the first four-leaf clover she'd ever found. See the kite way up there on the hill? And there's the four-leaf clover she found. And there are her cool glasses. Cool as cool can be. This is the end of the story. Of course, if it were a fairy tale, it wouldn't end here. You know what would happen next, don't you? Katy's magic glasses would transform her into a perfect little girl with perfect manners who lived happily ever after. But this isn't a fairy tale, and Katy went right on being Katy. Sometimes happy, sometimes mad, sometimes good, and sometimes bad. Sometimes quiet, thoughtful, dreamy, sometimes very loud and screamy, full of giggles, full of squeals, and always hungry, except at meals. There was just one thing that was very, very different about her now, that she wore magic glasses with big red frames. Her eyes were big and brown and bright, and she saw everything. Just right. The end. That's it. Well, I hope you liked it. Bye.